There is a kind of loneliness that doesn't look like loneliness. It doesn't sit in an empty room crying. It goes to work. It answers texts. It laughs at the right moments and says, "Yeah, we should catch up," and means it, a little. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. But here's the test, and you already know your answer. Something big happens, good or bad. It doesn't matter. Who do you call first? Not who you text in a group. Who do you actually call before you've even decided how to sound? For a lot of people, that name comes instantly. For you, there's a pause. And in that pause is the whole video. No real friends doesn't mean there's nobody in your phone. It means there's nobody you'd call when something actually happens. The story you tell yourself about that is probably a comfortable one. I just prefer my own company. People are fake. Nobody's really on my level. And maybe there's some truth in there, but that's the version that lets you off the hook. Here's the part nobody says out loud. You didn't end up alone because the world ran out of decent people. You ended up alone because somewhere back there, getting close to someone started to feel dangerous, and you've been quietly guarding the door ever since. Watch how it actually works, because it's more ordinary than you'd think. Take the "I hate fake people" thing. You're proud of it. You can read a room, clock the performance, feel when someone's being slippery. Real skill. But notice what it also does. It hands you a reason to keep almost everyone at a distance and call it taste. What you're reading as fake is sometimes just danger, your nervous system flagging another chance to be let down and pulling you back before it can happen. You're not only seeing through people, you're protecting yourself from them. Same with small talk. You say you can't stand it, that it's shallow, beneath you. But that's not quite it. Small talk doesn't drain you because you're deep. It drains you because it puts you exactly where you hate to be. In the room, but not actually known. Surrounded and still invisible. Then there's the loop, and the loop is the real engine of this whole thing. At some point, you got hurt. Maybe you opened up and someone laughed. Maybe you trusted someone and they used it. Maybe nobody did anything dramatic. They just left, slowly, the way people do. And your brain, doing its job, wrote a few quiet rules. Don't reach first. Don't need too much. Don't show too much. Don't trust too fast. Psychologists have a name for the wider version of this. Rejection sensitivity. Once you've been burned enough times, the mind starts scanning for the first sign of being left before there's any real sign at all. Those rules kept you safe. They also made you hard to get close to. So you held back a little. You replied slower. You stopped initiating. You stopped saying the real thing. A message comes in. You read it. You think, "I'll answer later." Then later becomes tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes awkward. And by the time you could reply, the silence feels easier than explaining the silence. And the people around you, who can't read your mind, felt that distance and read it as "he's not interested." So they stopped trying too. And when they faded out, you nodded to yourself and thought, "See, people always leave." These days, the invitations come less often. And if you're honest, your first reaction to one is sometimes relief when it gets cancelled. But look at what actually happened. You weren't just lonely. You were quietly confirming it. You built the wall to keep the pain out, then used the empty room as proof that nobody was ever coming. Here's the part that stings, because no one tells you this one. It isn't only that people don't get close to you. It's that you give them nothing to hold. No need, no weakness, no request, no opening. You handle everything yourself, so nobody ever gets to be the one who helped. You stay calm and capable, so nobody ever sees the part of you that would make them feel trusted. You might care about people more than anyone in the room, but if you never show it in a way they can actually feel, they have no idea where they stand with you. And people don't stay where they can't tell if they matter. That's the trick of it. You're not cold. You're careful. But from the outside, careful and cold look exactly the same. So let's go back to the question you've been avoiding. You say this is a choice. Is it? Because there's a real difference between enjoying your own company and needing no one because needing someone once hurt too much. One of those is peace. The other is what psychologists would probably recognize as an avoidant pattern. A cast you put on a long time ago and never took off, even after the bone healed. That shadow you feel sometimes, the one standing behind you, when the apartment is quiet and the phone hasn't moved in 2 days, that's not other people. Other people were never the real threat. The threat is the system you built to survive them. And it doesn't shut off just because you're safe now. You feel it most at night, when loneliness stops sounding like silence and starts sounding like a voice. Not enough. Replaceable. Left out. You don't argue with it anymore. You've heard it so long, it just sounds like the truth. And it isn't only in your head. To the brain, being cut off from people registers a lot like physical pain. Researchers actually call it social pain, and it runs through some of the same wiring as a real injury. The same alarm, the same low hum of threat. So even while you're being warm and useful to everyone around you, some part of you stays braced, scanning, tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. You just got very good at hiding it. And the cost is real, even if nobody sends you the bill. Your world gets a little smaller every year. Your thoughts start echoing, because there's no one to bounce them off. You get so used to handling everything alone that you forget being known was ever on the table. You reject yourself before anyone else can get the chance. Too much, not enough, and call it self-awareness. The friendships that never started don't make a sound. Nobody mourns the call you didn't make. You just quietly live a smaller life than the one that was actually available to you. So here's the honest part, and it's smaller and harder than go make friends. It was never that you're impossible to love. The wall isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It went up for a reason, and it did its job. Some of you really were surrounded by people who couldn't be trusted, and that part was never your fault. But the same door that kept the danger out is the one keeping everyone else out now, and you are the only person standing on your side of it. You don't fix this by throwing it open and unloading on the next person you meet. You fix it the way you built it, slowly, in small bets. Answer the message instead of leaving it for 3 days while you decide what it means. Let someone help with one thing you could have done alone. Say the real sentence instead of the safe one. Go first, once. Let yourself be seen, a little, by one person who has earned it. Each of those is you, teaching your nervous system that the old rule isn't true anymore. Because real friendship was never about the size of the group. A real friend isn't someone who knows your schedule. It's someone who knows the version of you that stops performing, the one you can be boring around, the one who notices when your "I'm fine" is carrying more than it should, the one who's still there on the day you have nothing useful to offer. One person you don't have to be on for, one name that comes without a pause. The goal was never to become more social. It's to become reachable again. Maybe you have no real friends, not because you're impossible to love. Maybe because you learned to survive, by becoming impossible to reach. And that, unlike most things, is something you are still allowed to change.